How's it going, everybody? CityZilla here in our lovely city of Crater Lake, and today we're going to be working on building out our university like I had talked about on the last episode, and we're still a little ways away from hitting that 19,000 milestone, I believe it was, Grand City, and allowing us to purchase Southern Square, and so we are going to address some resident issues that we're having. That neighborhood that we built in the last episode just wasn't quite big enough, though I really do like how this came out. I think it looks really cool, especially with this plaza, and I think these are things that I'm going to start incorporating more into my builds, is just some heavier details like this. But let me know what you guys think. I know a lot of times videos that focus too much on that can be a little heavy, and so I'm going to try my best to find like a good balance in there. But anyway, so let's go ahead, and I'm thinking we're going to extend over here across this rail line, and so I do want to grab the picker mod, grab this guy, and then go to unmodded mode, and then we're going to extend this out, but we're going to need to build a bridge over the rail line. And I do want 1, 2, 3, 4, and I could go 3, but 4 I like a little better just because of the rail lines. And so we're going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. And I know that one was a little off. I think we're going to have to shift that back because that curve is just a little steeper. I guess it's not the end of the world, but I think we're going to just shift that back a little bit so that we can hopefully get the same kind of slope on this side, even though it is a little bit farther out. It's just because the rail line is diagonal. And so we're just going to extend this guy out. Right now we really don't need it. And I actually messed up. This is supposed to be a one-way road. Yeah, that's right. I think I had, oh yeah, it was because we had moved that back. And so I think that's good. And then we are going to come up here to this road. And that is our little avenue with the benches and everything. I really like that road. And then we're going to probably have to pause the game and bring this back just a little bit. I mean, I could delete that because the node's so far back, though. I would rather just move it. We are going to lose just a couple of these guys. It's not the end of the world, though. And then we will go back to this guy and do the same kind of thing. I honestly think we're probably going to have to go even further back. That just doesn't seem far enough. I mean, we could get away with that. It's not unheard of to have slopes like that in cities, but I think that would be, that right there would be a little more realistic. I think that's good. And one of the things I was thinking is we could add in like a nice little biking path around here. That we do have the biking connected to the main roads. I think it would be just a nice feature to also have some separate bike paths. And so we'll go like that. And then because this section is kind of tucked in with this rail line, I would rather fill in this available space. So I think we have, so that's the 4 lane, and it's because it's coming around. So we could just do the 2 lane out to maybe like here. I think we'll actually, because we're not going to put zoning on this road, I'm going to actually put the road right next to it, and then we will I mean, that's not terrible. It is a little sharp around that edge. I'm going to see if I can just clean that up a little bit better. Maybe we can have it come out this way. And have that go like that, because then we can actually put something in there. And then I'm going to use the Move It mod to just straighten this guy out. I do want this to be level with that, though. I think for that to be much lower than the rail line would be kind of weird. And then, so we'll come out from this guy, and we'll probably go like right there, because then we can just go like that. I think that's good. And it fills in the available space. We do have that a nice little curve now, and we can put some sort of city service there probably. And then we can just, we don't need to do anything crazy. We'll probably, I want to fill in more space than that. So maybe like right there. I think that's probably good. These hills are still just not ideal. This would be a little better if it was like that. Yeah, there you go. And we'll just assume that the developers came in and graded this out first and the ground isn't just magically moving on its own. And so now we have freed up a little more zoning, which is fantastic. And we can fill this guy in. And then let's go ahead and do a park on that one side. I think that would just be great. Fill this in, and then, you know what, we already got a park right there. And we have a park right there. Maybe we could do a community pool. Do we have any over here? No, that's not a pool. It's a health clinic. So we could definitely do a community pool right here. I think that is fantastic. And it's a little off. I'm just going to shift it to the right so that we can get a little bit better. Don't really like the look of that. Just because of that road, I think we are going to shift this down just a little bit. And in having that little ledge right there isn't the end of the world. But now the pool's level, which is important, and the rest of this area will be leveled out when it starts getting built out, but I'm just going to go ahead and soften it up. Just because I can. I know I can leave it, but this is something that I'm trying to be more mindful of, is terrain. In the past, I've been kind of mindful of it, but I haven't really been paying as much attention to it as real life cities probably would, and so it is definitely something that I think we are going to be paying more attention to. As it just adds in a little more realism, I'm just going to put in a small amount of foliage on this guy, and then we're going to put in some palm trees. And there we go. And then, you know what, since we're already here, we might as well. And there we go. And then I think for this section we can just do some small rocks, nothing too crazy. I probably way overuse rocks compared to maybe other creators or something, but I really like how they look. I think they're kind of luxurious. And then I do want to come into that. I was thinking that big orange tree. I like how it looks. Maybe actually we'll use the standardy kind of tree for this area. I think it's fair to assume at this point that I maybe have too many trees. Yeah, there we go. You know what? I think this was a good choice. It cleans it up really nice, makes it look good, and then I'm probably just going to mirror it over here. We do have some areas that for some reason I just didn't come in and do a lot of landscaping to, which really isn't the end of the world. Landscaping's kind of expensive. And so not all places would have it, but it is a nice touch that you can add to your cities. And it's not going overboard. We're just doing some light, you know, trees and then some foliage. Yeah, there you go. I mean, a little bit of foliage goes a long ways. It looks pretty good. And we did leave... It's kind of interesting. Those are 4x slots, but the 2x's, it didn't allow them to go further than that. I wonder why. So let's see. Maybe I'd zone that in. Oh, it's. I need to get that zoning adjuster mod. Yeah, because it's only allowing 2s in there, which isn't the end of the world. It's okay. And so what I'm thinking for this side is something similar to what we're doing. So we still need to make another arterial, and this guy is obviously going to branch across here. It does look like we didn't really finish this neighborhood out. Kind of left these a little barren. I think it was I just didn't want to overzone commercial over here, so maybe we will just go like that. And there we go. And then we will still have some commercial in here. You know, we'll probably save that, and then this is actually on the main road, so we'll go like that. I don't know why I left that empty. I think I left this empty so that we could probably do some decorating. Alright, well I guess we are getting really sidetracked today. I was under the impression that we were going to be building out a university, but it looks like we're going to be cleaning up some of our neighborhoods. I think maybe we don't want to overdo our commercials, so I think maybe we'll just, because this is kind of like a service plaza, we will fill this in with some decorating. Nothing too crazy. Just some foliage and then some trees. You don't want to overdo it. Yeah, there you go. I mean, I think that looks pretty good. And then we could even go back and just use this same kind of standardy tree. I try my best to switch up landscaping styles because it's like every landscaping company would have kind of a different style, and then it would also depend on what the developers chose, and so you'd have different landscaping trees and plants and designs and everything pretty much everywhere you go, because it would just depend on what the people had paid for or they had commissioned to have put down, or whether, you know, whatever the landscaping company chose. And then I'm just going to put in some small rocks right here just because we don't want to pass up an opportunity for some good rock formations, even though the city or this developer would probably not spend the amount of money it would take to build that. But I think that looks pretty good. I think that is a solid foundation right there. And then I think by putting in these residential houses around the outside, you know, we could even go like this just because we're not going to put commercial right there. And there's commercial right across the street. And so they still have pretty good access, and the commercial down here. And so I'm not super worried about them not having enough commercial. I think it would still be pretty good. I do think we are going to go in here though and just put some palm trees around the outside just to clean up the neighborhood, because it is residential. It would be nice to have that. And there you go. And then now we could even go in, and this is getting kind of crazy, but we could add in some more path access. Can't have too many paths. You really can't. And there we go. You know what? I think that looks pretty good. I do know that these squares are still left here. I wanted to leave them there for future uses. And that's why I kind of really haven't been playing around with them too much. I think we will just put some foliage around these guys real quick though too, these tunnels. Looks like we are missing our path right here. Not sure what happened, but it got demolished somewhere. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. We still have some areas where we could either put in zoning or more, like right there. I think that's good. And then I think we're going to put in a path. You know, it's so funny. We might be able to reach the 19,000 just from these gaps in residential that we're finding. Yeah, I mean, this could definitely be a thing. I think we will put this in as residential. Yeah, I think that's going to be good. And then we can put these in as commercial. And we left the outside of this circle, the square, unzoned as well. I did change the policy on these high density commercial areas to have a high rise ban, just because I think by having the buildings too tall, it made the height disparities a little too large, and it just made it really unrealistic. And so I decided to go in and change that. I think it already looks a lot better. We still do have some gaps around the outside though, to where I think when our commercial demand maybe gets higher, or maybe even industrial, maybe we'll put offices in there. I think that could be good too, because this is kind of centrally located, and so it'd probably be a good location for some offices. And so we could do, because these little areas don't have zoning on them, let's do some foliage in here too. And I don't know why this little section doesn't have zoning. Oh, it was because we were planning on putting in paths, and we never did. It's kind of funny when you're building out, you just forget some things because you end up building them out. We could definitely do some fences around this too. I've done these in the past, and I used to actually do them quite a bit more than I do now. I think because I get caught up in like designing stuff a little more now rather than putting in fences like this. I kind of get caught up in like layout design and stuff like that. I think that looks pretty good. You can't really put any foliage or anything in there as it's just going to die. But I think that looks good. We could put in some commercial on this guy. I think this avenue is definitely missing a little bit of commercial. I think that looks good though, and we still do have some residential availability, and that brings us back to the neighborhood that we were going to be building before we went on our big landscaping journey. And so let's go back over here and let's try to figure out what our distance is on this guy, because we want to still kind of maintain, I don't know the exact distance we had on these grids. Was it 5? I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's like 5, almost just short of 6. But is it? I don't know if it's even. But so if we were to go, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, that's actually 6 right there. Let's just go ahead and we'll call that even, and then we can build our bridge across. And it looks like it is really up on a hill. I think because of this hill, we're actually going to avoid building right here. So maybe we will just have this bridge turn into a tunnel. I think that could be good. It's kind of funny, in Pittsburgh they have these where you have a huge bridge that turns into a tunnel. It's actually really cool. Yeah, it's like the freeway. The freeway just goes into a huge tunnel that goes across a giant bridge. And you know what? I think that's probably pretty good right there. So we then need to hook this up to our tunnel system. Alright, so I think that is pretty good. I hooked this up underground and it worked out really well, and then now all we need to do is do a nice little layout. I don't think we're going to do anything crazy, but I do want it to be functional and to also kind of follow the same pattern as around here. So I do want to create a couple access points. So we'll probably go like right there, and then we'll probably follow that same pattern with actually connecting it up to this road. So I think we will go like right there, because I like having these multiple levels of access here. I think it is really smart. It's also, you know, makes for some interesting designs. You know what, I think that's pretty good. Leaves enough buffer room. It's a little bit more of a buffer room than this side, which I think is good. And then now we can just come in here, and because of our kind of unique layout, I think we are going to choose a little bit different of an approach for this. And I think we're going to get rid of this guy and just do one connection here. Yeah, I think that's good. So now there's access all the way around. But we could either have the roads go this way or that way. We could also have them kind of follow this little guy. Yeah, you know what? I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, there you go. We do lose a little bit of zoning right there in the middle, but I think it's going to create some nice walking path areas. And, oh hey, look, Grand City, perfect. This is what we were waiting for, 19,000. So now we're able to get that other square and start working on our downtown. And we have unlocked solar power plant, baseball park, waste transfer facility, which is great. We really need to move our trash service over to that, as well as some other unique buildings and stuff. And so that's fantastic. I do want to complete this real quick though, and so let's come in here and I want to put in some paths first. So we will turn off snapping. And I would prefer this to not ruin any zoning. And this one's not really going to matter as there's such a big gap. I think for this side, maybe we will have it just cut in a little bit sooner. I think this could be good like that, and then we will just have it go like that. I think that's pretty good. And then we could even do something similar on this side. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Add some interest. And then let's come in here and do some foliage just around this guy because we're not going to do any zoning over here. And then we do need to provide some more services over here, as well as probably a school, though the schools may be close enough if we have one right here. And we don't, because we have so much elementaries over there. We actually don't have an elementary school over here. So I think we're going to incorporate one over here somewhere. Yeah, there we go. And then I think we will end up putting some commercial around the outside of this, and then an elementary school. We could, you know what, because of this space over here, this actually works out really well for an elementary school, and then the small playground. Is it that one? Yeah, small. There you go. Perfect. And I think that looks really good, having the playground right next to that. And I am going to just come in here and smoothen it out real quick. I'm going to smooth it all out just because we're in here. It's not super realistic, but it does help with just everything looking a little more flush. And then I'm just going to come in here and choose our standardy little park tree so that we can kind of continue on that same look as the park. And then we'll probably add in just one path. Yeah, there you go. I think that looks good. And so now the school has a playground next to it, which is fantastic, especially for an elementary school. But then it's also in the neighborhood, so it's providing a great service for the neighborhood. I do want to come in and do one of these community pools. I really like having these in the neighborhoods. I think these are just super great. And I think we're going to do one right there and then just come back and... yeah, there you go. We'll probably add in a little connection right there. I think that's fantastic. And then I'm going to go into Node Controller and create some crosswalks where these are. Just because this is a neighborhood, and so you would want people to have that accessibility. That's probably good. I don't think we need them on the outside. We just need them on the inside. And then we will come in here, and we're still using low density, and we're just going to paint in this whole inner guy. And I like when it's broken like this, not perfect squares, because you get a bunch of different sizes of homes. So it ends up giving it a little more character. And it does look like we do have some space in the middle for us to do some landscaping. Just tidy it up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and connect that, even though I know we're not going to need that long term. And then I think for commercial, we'll probably just do down here. Yeah, I mean, I think that's good. But then we can also... could also do some small shops up here, which I think would be good. And then I'm going to go back into those palm trees and do a nice little border. It's kind of funny, this one developer is just developing out a ton of residential lately. And there we go. I think that looks really good. And since we're not doing commercial on this side, we will come in and zone in some more residential, just because we don't want to lose that space if we don't have to. I think that looks pretty good. I actually kind of like this design. It's more on the basic side, but it satisfies our needs, and it works really well. It looks good. And we do need to come in here and do these paths, so... and you know, I think that looks pretty good. Did kind of mess up over here though. And I do have a plan for this. That's why I'm not really focusing on landscaping this just yet. Because we may just follow the same kind of design as this, as doing the palm trees, which I think looks really good. Or we may start incorporating some of these roundabouts into monuments and start doing more of this kind of design, where we do the pavement in the middle and actually kind of decorate it up and make it look really nice, just because I think this came out really good. And so I think that neighborhood looks fantastic. It is probably going to be a little bit until it all grows out, since our demand kind of has collapsed, which is normal for these neighborhoods. I'm going to go in and just finish some of the landscaping, but then I actually want to jump over and start working on that college campus at least a little bit. Yeah, I think this looks pretty good, and then we'll just wait for the rest of the zoning to come in and actually do a little bit more of it. I like how we got that wave in the path though too. I think that looks pretty cool. And it would be smart for us to do a pedestrian path across here too. So we'll probably do that. Maybe we could add in a couple more of those little basic trees. I think that looks pretty good. I like that we were able to get the community pool in there too. These are really cool features, and it's definitely something that you see in neighborhoods or bigger communities a lot, so I'm glad we were able to get that in there. Alright, so I think we ended up spending a little too much time on detailing and building out this new residential. I think it looks really good though. I let the game run for a little bit, and as you can see, the buildings all came in really nicely, and we actually have enough room now to just finish up our landscaping on it and just tidy it up a little bit. I think it looks really good. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Again, I was trying not to overdo it with a lot of the stuff, so I really like these little base trees too. I think these look pretty good. I think that looks good, and then what we can do is we'll just come in here and put in some of these guys. I think this looks pretty good. I do want to put in some foliage right here. And there we go. I think this neighborhood came out pretty well. I definitely didn't anticipate putting as much time into it as we did, but I don't think it's the end of the world. I think this like sand kind of gravel that's over here is... Yeah, it's got to be gravel. Guess we'll just keep that like that, but we can put some foliage around this guy. Yeah, there you go. And do the same thing right here. And I can't wait for you guys to see some of the monument ideas I have. I have some pretty cool little designs that I've been playing with. I think they come out pretty nice. I think I'm going to go ahead and zone this in as just a small bit of residential. I think that looks good, and we already landscaped that up. And looks like these are separated. We are having quite a few people walk across these. It's kind of funny, they're using the tunnels too, which is great. I didn't really plan for them to be using those tunnels, but we'll just do some palm trees around this guy. And I feel like I could probably just run away, like do this for hours. So I think after this one, we will call it. Let me know what you guys think of the new residential area. I think we worked on quite a bit today. The city has come together really well. I think with that university area, it's going to look really nice, and we can go ahead and unlock that square up. Oh man, you know what? It's so funny. I didn't realize we didn't even unlock a square there. No. All right, so we're just going to have to start building that out. So, but on the next episode, we are going to probably finish doing out this area and then doing the university area. And maybe I was initially planning on not building up here, but maybe we will figure something out to do with this little grassy area. If you guys let me know in the comments below what you think we could do. We could, extend this residential neighborhood out here and continue on with our kind of upscale, like little nice neighborhood. Or we could turn it into something else, like maybe a big park or something cool. And then we still need to figure out something to do with this area. Because the train line's right there, just wasn't really sure. I think maybe if we just did some commercial and then maybe some walking paths and stuff, and maybe some bridges over the freeway, that could be good. I think that would probably be smart. But let me know. And thank you so much for watching. I will catch you on the next one.